So I just arrived in Melbourne, Australia, and there's no better way to get acquainted and familiarized with a place than to dive into the local food. I have octopus tentacles, I've got emu here, and I've got some radicchio salad. What a good way to introduce myself to Australia. It's kind of amazing how the texture of these octopus tentacles even work. Look at that. Like eating space aliens, but good. This one right here is emu. Have some good emo. Reminds me of my high school days. That's what it is, right?
Melbourne lies at the far south of the Australian continent. It's a lively urban centre with wonderful street art and incredible restaurants of all varieties. It's the cultural epicenter of Victoria and is Australia's second most populous city. But I must take in the bustling vibe of the city quickly, because I'm setting off for Grampians National Park, one of Victoria's premier hiking areas.
So we've just arrived to Hall's Gap in the heart of the Grampians, and the first thing that we see is a whole field of kangaroo. And they're all just chilling, munching on the grass. There's a mama here with a joey in her pouch, and she's just scratching away, having a good time. It's pretty wild. This is pretty cool to see, like, this iconic Australian thing just right here in essentially a soccer pitch.
The kangaroo don't seem to mind my presence. They're too busy eating lunch and enjoying the cool weather. But a day at the park won't stop a couple of the bigger males from participating in the time-honored tradition of seeing who's boss.
Oh, they're boxing it out. All the way back. That's my grass. That's my grass.
It's always a really important part of any adventure is to get to know the guides and to see who you're going to be having these experiences with. So Adrian has a ton of life experience. He'll be telling stories and be like, oh yeah, I was leading a trip in Nepal, or I was off in PNG. So it's just a wonderful thing to be able to go with somebody as quality and talented as Adrian.
So that first car park we drove past was the Gariwerd, so it's the official start point. But Troopers Creek here, it just saves a little bit of walking through one of those sallow wattle forests.
Yeah.
So we basically pop through in a couple hundred metres, we'll join up with the Grampians Peaks Trail and go up past this awesome series of waterfalls. And then the trail continues up to Briggs Bluff, which is an amazing big lookout point up in the clouds.
Yeah.
And then around to the Gar hiking camp.
Well, cool. Well, shall we start?
We should.
All right, let's do it.
This area doesn't look like the Australia that you know and think of with the red dirt outback landscape. That's one of the things that I love, is getting to see all of these new landscapes, that Australia is actually a hugely diverse place. It's been raining for like all of last week, huge flooding. We've got a big storm today, so these waterfalls are probably pumping. So this is the first one.
So officially this is waterfall number 0.
Waterfall 0, not even one.
This one's not actually marked on the map, so it's sort of like the sneaky first one.
Okay.
And mainly, so these are all seasonal, only really flow either during spring, late winter, when there's consistent rain. But usually this is just a little trickle on the side. To see this much water over this fall means that the 3 big ones are going to be
real nice.
Super nice.
Oh yeah. What's this?
So this is a boot cleaning station.
Okay.
One of the biodiversity kind of issues we've got is a pathogen called cinnamon fungus, or Phytophthora.
Oh, it sounds delicious.
Yeah, it sounds nice. But it's obviously not good, and it gets spread through soil and through spores like that. So
yeah,
a lot of the main access points of the trail, we've got these boot cleaning stations, so you can scrub all the dirt off, and a little hand pump here that sprays an antifungal sort of chemical, just to make sure that we're not spreading things from one side to the other.
Yeah. Doing my part. keep that cinnamon fungus out of this park.
The absolute benefit of all this rain is that these mountains are surging with water, and there are waterfalls here that would normally be dry, and they are pumping.
So this is way more flow than normal.
Yeah, so 9 months of the year, this is a sand pit.
So is this waterfall 1?
This is official number 1.
Officially number 1. Wow. So as we're hiking here, you can see all the shelving that's going on in these landscape, and the waterfalls just keep popping up over all these sandstone shelves, and it's so beautiful, especially on a day like this when we've got this nice low cloud bank keeping everything feeling moody and cool. And yeah, it's just wild looking out here. I'm loving it. The fire wiped it all out for a while, so this is relatively new foliage.
So yeah, a lot of this stuff is 2014 was the last big fire, so anywhere up to 6 to 8 years old.
That's actually a pretty remarkable comeback.
And it does. It's part of the reason why, you know, the classic Australian vegetation, there's a lot of understory and a lot of thick undergrowth, so it makes it, depending on where you are in the world or in the country, makes it quite difficult to be walking off paths and things like that. There's a lot of vegetation to get through, and this, particularly with some of the, you know, this sort of stuff that's
very sharp.
It's very sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's on the defensive here.
Yes, and it's the sort of stuff, if you do need to, like if you're on a search team or something looking for people, you tend to take off your waterproof clothes and just sacrifice your skin, otherwise you'd just be replacing your jacket every time you go anywhere.
Jeez, brutal. There's a big waterfall up there.
There is. That's our last one.
Should we go find it?
We should.
All right.
One of the things that truly stuck out to me is the uniqueness of the rock. There is something really odd and curious and beautiful about the rock here, and most of it is because of the wind erosion. Some of these rock formations feel like odd creatures, and it kind of gets your imagination going, and I've really loved that.
This is another bigger example of that wind erosion in the sandstone we're talking about, with the sand obviously forming in different density levels and different layers, and super obvious through here. You can see obviously the redder, harder layers compared to the white sand that just, as that wind circles through, it just sort of funnels in and brushes off the side, deposits on the ground here, and eventually just sweeps out and creates this big cavern.
I think wind doesn't get enough credit as an erosionary force.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Is this the top?
Well, this is the end of the official trail.
No.
You are here at the end of the walk, but we are not at the top.
Yeah, I see more rock above us.
Yeah. So the defining point of being at the top is you run out of uphill. And there is some more uphill.
So we should go all the way to the top.
Yeah, but not this way.
No?
We go down.
What?
We go up.
That makes no sense.
So we continue on, and we actually down climb a little bit and then go around kind of the backside of the summit. And it requires some climbing. It requires a little bit of 4 points of contact, actually climbing up this little chute in the rock. And that was definitely my favorite part, because anytime you can get kind of scrambling, touch the rock, and get to a place where it feels like it's just a little bit more challenging. And at the top, it's just beautiful views of the Grampians and beyond.
Is this it?
The top.
Let's see, which one? Because I'm not coming up to the summit and not being at the top. Come on.
Things are here.
Nice work. This is such a fascinating landscape. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It is wild to see. Okay, I'm drinking this in. This is beautiful, but we gotta go.